Most people don't wake up one day and decide that their value is going to come from how much they get done. It kind of slides into place over time. It feels normal while it's happening, and in some ways it's almost sensible. At first, being useful just feels good. You show up to things and you help, you take something that needs attention and you handle it. Stuff moves because you're involved. People lean on you a little more. Life feels steadier, especially in seasons where a lot feels uncertain, because productivity gives you something firm to put your feet on. Somewhere along the way, usefulness starts to matter more than you realize. And that's not in a loud way. No one pulls you aside and tells you that your worth depends on results. It's much quieter than that. You notice that appreciation shows up most clearly when things are finished. You feel calmer when progress is visible. You sleep better when there's evidence that you're still needed. So without really noticing the moment it happens, being useful stops feeling like something you do and starts feeling like something you are. That shift usually isn't about ego. It's really more about responsibility. It's about wanting to be faithful to what you've been given. For a lot of disciplined people, productivity wasn't necessarily driven by ambition. It was just about being dependable. It's just about making sure that things didn't fall apart, about honoring your commitments and carrying what was put in your hands. And for a while, that way of living works. It brings order. It makes life feel coherent. You can look around and say, yeah, this makes sense. The cost just doesn't show up right away. When identity starts to narrow around production, the inner world gets smaller. I mean, you can still function, you can still be effective, but your sense of self starts to depend on conditions. So when you're producing, you feel settled. When you're not, there's this unease. It's not exactly guilt, it's just something that doesn't quite rest. And speaking of rest gets harder to receive. Slowing down feels like a little suspicious. Waiting feels like wasted time instead of something that might be shaping you. And you start to catch yourself measuring days by what moved instead of what was actually there. And even joy can start to feel like something you earn rather than something that shows up on its own. For people of faith, this can get reinforced without anyone meaning to. Responsibility starts to sound like obedience. Discipline quietly takes the place of devotion. It becomes easier to talk about fruit than formation. Now, you stay faithful, you keep doing what's in front of you even when it's heavy. Over time, effectiveness becomes the signal that things are okay, that you're aligned, that you're still walking rightly. None of this means that discipline is the issue. Work itself is not the problem. Contribution isn't the thing that went wrong. The tension shows up when discipline becomes the way you secure your worth instead of something that grows out of your worth. When your identity collapses into productivity, everything else carries more pressure. Success just doesn't feel satisfying. It feels relieving. Failure doesn't just disappoint, it really shakes up something deeper. And you might not notice it right away. You just feel more tired than you ought to. You're a little more guarded. You're less open than you used to be. You start relating to God, to other people, and even to yourself from a place of output instead of a place of presence. So think about it. Prayer gets shorter. Stillness feels like it's inefficient. Staying busy keeps certain questions quiet, so movement starts to feel safer than just stopping. That doesn't mean you did anything wrong. It means you adapted. You learned what worked. You learned how to be effective in a world that rewards results and stability. You learned how to carry responsibility without coming apart. Adaptation, though, is not the same thing as identity. From a faith-rooted perspective, worth was never something you earned by contributing. It was given before you produced a single thing, before you proved you were useful, before you showed consistency or carried weight of some kind. Now, that doesn't undermine discipline. It actually gives it somewhere solid to stand. Discipline that grows out of identity feels different than discipline used to protect identity. One of those things feels steady over time. The other one stays tense even when it looks calm on the outside. One has space for rest. The other treats rest like something super risky. Being more than what you produce doesn't mean you suddenly stop producing. It just means effort comes from a deeper place. That's a place where work isn't trying to justify your existence, where your usefulness doesn't have to defend your value. You can still work hard and build meaningful things. You can still lead and contribute in real ways. The difference is internal. It's about whether output is carrying the weight of who you are or just simply expressing who you are. When worth comes first, you don't vanish when things slow down. You don't panic when progress stalls. You don't feel erased when you're not needed for a stretch. You're still you. That realization can feel unsettling at first, especially if you've been the dependable one for a long time, especially if people have come to rely on your steadiness, and especially if being needed shaped how you understood your place in the world. Letting go of productivity as a source of worth isn't about becoming passive. It's about becoming anchored. It's allowing identity to widen again beyond your function. You might notice moments where you feel unnecessary and a little uneasy. Times where stillness exposes how much doing has been holding things together. That's not failure. That's just information. There's nothing to fix here. There's nothing to force. It's just something to notice. So notice when usefulness starts to feel like safety. Notice when rest feels undeserved. Notice when your sense of value rises and falls with output. That awareness isn't a task. It's not something you add to your to-do list. It's an invitation to see what's been quietly operating underneath your discipline. Again, you don't have to resolve it today. You don't need to change your schedule or lower your standards. You can just let the question stay in the room for a while. Who are you when you're not producing? Not as a threat, more as a curiosity. If this stirred something and it didn't quite settle, that's okay. These shifts usually don't resolve quickly. They unfold through attention over time. You can keep turning it over this week, and if you want to stay with the conversation, I explore this theme more deeply in my weekly newsletter. There's no rush, just space to keep noticing what's underneath what you do.